Okay, so it's late into May and time to start mowing. So what I did, I took out my trusty lawnmower. It's a Husqvarna LTH 130. It's an old machine, but she's very reliable. But got a problem with it this year. There's two belts on these kind of ride-on mowers. One is a belt a lot of people see. It's for running the mower deck. And then up underneath, you probably can't see, but there's another belt that controls the driving, so your forward motion. And the belt goes from the machine to the transmission, and in between there's two pulleys. One of them it's called an idler pulley, and it's controlled by this mechanism. You push that forward to start to take the idler pulley off the belt so that you can start the engine, and then you release it and you start moving forward. So something happened, I guess, over the winter, and the pulley, it got stuck. So when I applied for forward motion, you can see where the pulley stuck, so the belt rubbed into the pulley. The pulley's made of plastic, and it melted the pulley. So really, this is unusable. So what I've gone and done, took some measurements, and I made my own pulley. Now this is just a temporary solution because I have one on order. It won't be here till Thursday, and so in the meantime I have the opportunity, so I just want to try and make one and see if it'll hold. So all I did was went to the scrap pile and found some thin plywood, what I thought would do the job, and you can see I sanded the bevel. So basically, there's two outside pieces, there's an inside piece, and I started with, just regular plywood, cut it out from there, and with the belt sander, while it was going, just put a bit of an angle bevel in it. Just went by eye, and the layers of the plywood kind of help, allowing you to show how deep you're going when you're doing your bevel. So that's all I followed, and just going to put this together. I'm not going to use regular glue. I bought this last week for whatever purpose, so I'm just going to try this. It's Gorilla Glue. It's a new brand that's out for a little bit, and they say it's super strong, so we're going to find out how strong this is. I'm going to glue this together, and then I might even drive some short deck screws through just to torque it really well, get it nice and tight, and let that set up. Probably let it set up overnight so it's good and dry, and then try this out tomorrow morning, and then we'll see what happens. So it's the next day now, and I've managed to get this finished. It's glue's all set and dry, and even what I did, there was some excess glue had squeezed out, so I just kind of spread that all through the grooves here. And so I don't know if it'll make a difference or not, but it's a nice smooth surface there now anyway. So you can see that it's pretty good shape all the way around. And all I'm doing now is I'm prepping this. I got a bolt here. It's a little longer than normal. I might cut off some threads, and I just put some a little bit of black grease in there, so slip that on just so that it'll spin freer while it's under the machine. So it's not perfect, but it's worth a shot to try anyway. So this is what it looks like under. Here's the wooden pulley, and it's gonna turn. It's under tension right now, but when you push down on this lever here, this is what happens. So you release the tension of the belt, you start your engine. Once it's running, You let it go, and then when you go to push your hydraulic lever for forward and reverse, that moves the belt. So at least that's my understanding of it. We're going to find out now pretty soon if that belt's going to stand up to the job or if it's going to just blow up. Time will tell. Okay, so found some nylon bushings. Don't know if it's going to work or not. But I tucked one in there. And now I'm going to put one here. Put this back over. And mount that and see what happens. One thing to remember about when you're putting back, even if this was meant like the original pulley, or you know you're going to do some hack like this, this little piece is the guard that keeps the belt in place. And so with the belt, this belt here, you got to slip the belt between the guard and the pulley. Get that in there. And then, don't know if this is going to get the frame or not. And you have to get, I'm pushing the lever to the start pedal down, and that's what's bringing that pivot over. You got to get this in there and then get that nut on. So the end result is I got that wooden wheel on, and it worked about 3 or 4 passes, maybe like 1,000 feet or something like that, and then the pulley burned out in the sense that you can see right here. So all the friction in that with the bolt, and it just burned through. So it got slack and rattled around, and of course smoke started coming out, and so I shut it off and took this off. I did this as an experiment just to see if it could be done as a substitute. Hindsight, maybe a metal sleeve and then put the bolt through might have saved this a little bit longer. I don't know. But what I did learn is that Gorilla Glue is pretty darn strong, because all the abuse that this pulley took, and it stayed together. It didn't fall apart at all. Initially, when I first glued it up, I torqued in 3 wood screws. You can see here. And I torqued them in there to get it nice and compressed, let the glue dry. And when I went to put them on, I took the screws off, because I figured if this thing explodes, I don't want screws flying around everywhere. So I took them out. And so I just went in with this. But that glue held up really, really strong. So it's good stuff, that Gorilla Glue. So I'll be sure to use that on some other projects. But in the meantime, I'll have to wait now until the pulley arrives. And from the factory and install that, and then keep on going with mowing.